Yeah, you have the VTuber streaming setup, just the general setup is already for most people a fairly complex chain because you obviously have live 2D. Most people also have some sort of stream redeem tool set up as well. Maybe they have some stream bots, maybe they have some other things, and then you also have Nova as well.
Yeah. Should I begin by just explaining why?
Yeah, explain the gimmick and yeah, what your
It's
deal is.
Yeah, VTubing on Linux ultra hard mode. God, I'm gonna have to also be careful and not read chat too much out loud, but it's habits. This is the embarrassing part of the story, where I came into like understanding about VTubers just a couple years back, maybe just 2 years back at most,
Okay, wow.
and yeah, like I kind of missed the big 2020 wave,
Mhm,
even though I'm not unfamiliar with anime at all. Like
mhm,
I understand all this stuff. But at the time, I was only seeing the big players, only seeing the big, huge like agency VTubers and maybe like the huge indie VTubers,
mhm,
and they're all sexy anime characters. All of them,
mhm.
at least the ones that make the big headlines. And so in my mind, those two things were synonymous. Like you can't be a VTuber without being some sexy anime girl.
Mhm.
And well, you and your cat girl would probably work the same way.
Mhm.
But I thought to myself, well, I can't be the cat girl. I can't.
Mhm.
It's not for me. It's not right. But maybe I can be the companion. And so this harebrained scheme started forming in my head of having some excuse to have an anime girl, in the stream somehow.
Mhm.
I took all my cues from Noctopus, if you're familiar with him. He's like a different style of, I want to say, um, we have Neurosama and
Oh,
Vito.
yes, yes,
Like
I do know. Yes,
they're the
okay.
only others that are kind of doing this sort of thing, and they are huge, really huge. So
Mhm.
like I have my admiration to them, but I wanted to be the primary focus of the show. So I wanted to provide the bulk of the entertainment and have the anime girl be sort of the mascot. But the funny thing would be that she's got all the main character energy and I look like the mascot.
Right.
So yeah, hilarious thing where I didn't realize just how broad the VTubing world really was until I got
Mm.
into it. And then I saw everybody can do whatever. And you see all these kinds of creative avatars. And had I chosen to go with the silly little guy from the start, no anime girl required,
Mhm.
probably would have worked out just fine. But here we are. I own NovaandPulse.com, and so she's here to stay.
Mhm. I do think look, I like the cute anime girl thing that most people do, but I think a lot of people just don't realize that with live 2D you can do other things, and especially with like
Mhm.
3D models, you can especially do other things then. Someone in your chat's probably gonna know the name, but there early on was a gun VTuber. I don't remember their name. But there have been other ones, like there's like skeleton VTubers and things like that. Like Live
Mhm.
2D, it's just an animation tool. It's just
Mhm.
most of the artists, most of the riggers are,
Mhm.
that's the kind of work they do because that's the thing that most people want. So it
Mhm.
sort of gives I guess, a skewed interpretation of what is actually possible if you want to
Oh yeah.
step outside the bounds.
Totally, totally. And if you go even further beyond just live 2D and other 3D modeling options and go into something simple like a simple PNG tuber,
Mhm,
oh my God, the variety you find.
mhm,
And I found no shortage of like robot themed VTubers and not all of them had to be anime themed aesthetic at all.
mhm,
So clearly there is a lot out there, and it's kind of like my point of embarrassment that I kind of felt like this was the necessary, thing to do.
mm,
Like, okay, who can help draw this anime girl in my head, and also draw this crazy little guy also in my head, and yeah. So it's my point of just a bit of an embarrassment, but also it's kind of unique in itself. Not many
mm,
people do this sort of thing and go through the trouble of being the mascot in your own stream.
mm,
It's kind
mm.
of hilarious, so I keep it.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, considering it started in Japan, there are especially if you go back right to the start when people were still like trying to work things out, when basically the only VTuber who was big was Kizuna I, Hololive was just getting started, Sora had like 500 viewers. There were a lot of very experimental JP indie VTubers. Like, again, like you had things like a gun VTuber. I don't remember if that was EN or JP. I'm sure other people have done the same concept. I remember early on there was someone who was like a grandma. You had like a monk. I know that there is someone currently active who is who is an ugly bastard VTuber. So
oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun experimental stuff if you step out of like that like mainstream part. But even so, like, look, it makes sense why the cute anime girl is like the main thing that gets people attention.
Yeah, so I kind of bank on that a little bit where, pretty anime girl gets the attention, and that's kind of the thing that I was going for. Oh, I do all the work, she gets all the love. And but no, ultimately, I think what I was set out to do has worked. It's really me and my showmanship and personality that carries the stream, and she kind of includes, just a little extra once in a while. And also being like a solo, like a one-man show gives you someone else to bounce ideas off of, or at least just to play off of. So whenever one of her redeems goes wrong, or she has a weird question to answer, that gives us a topic of conversation, something to work with. But she doesn't have to be the focus, and sometimes there are streams where maybe she won't even talk at all, and that's fine. Sometimes she'll take up half of the attention, and sometimes none at all.
Yeah, I do agree with having someone to bounce off of. This is especially a problem that a lot of people run into when they are a small streamer. That, or not just small, but also new. That yapping ability, being able to just, and I think doing these podcasts, because I've done like solo episodes of the podcast as well, so it's basically 2 hours of me yapping without even a live chat. So it's just me yapping to the camera, and I feel like by doing that, it really has improved my like stream yapping ability, and the stream yapping ability sort of feeds back into that. It's sort of a skill you develop over time, but having something to bounce off of, whether it be a chat, or in your case, whether it be Nova and the chat when the people are active in the chat, it does definitely make it easier to hold a conversation. And I would argue that this is pretty uncontroversial, like makes it like better content as well when you actually have a way to bounce off of, instead of you just trying to somehow keep your streamer consciousness going for multiple hours at the same time as playing a game, at the same time as trying to manage your stream. It can get a bit overwhelming.
Very true. I admire the yappers. I've seen many. They've got incredible talent to just keep the stream of consciousness alive and well. It's incredible to see, because they don't even need a video game. They'll be like in their just chatting scene for like an hour at times, and it's like, oh my god, do you not run out of stuff to talk about? And apparently not. So like for me, having like, say, the game will be something to bounce off of, but having any other opportunities to improv, just go with it. Heck, that for that matter, one of my redeems, not active today, by the way, one of my redeems is just, here's a random Sonic line from one of the adventure era games, just random out of like all the games, and it gives me an opportunity to just jump and riff off of it, see if it like melds or doesn't meld. And I don't know, something about being able to improvise scratches the theater kid itch that I've had.